Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls out there? This is the Sports Buffoons full clan running it here today. This is Mike Settle here speaking now, along with Tanner Dawson and Jason JG. What's going on, my fellas?
Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
What's up, guys? Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I hope you guys had a great New Year. I know I had a lot of good events. Went out to Colorado, actually, to visit some family and hang out there for a bit. Went to some great breweries, as a matter of fact, which makes sense right now because I'm currently drinking the Boysenberry Sour IPA from Wiley Roots out of Greeley, Colorado. And Tanner, what do you think about this? Your first time trying it?
This is some solid sour IPA. I'm not a big sour guy, but this is smooth. This isn't like over tartaning or anything like that.
You get a little crust even on the back end as it warms up a little bit, which is pretty cool. I like that aspect.
Weird.
Of it.
I love it though.
There's some great stuff out there. Went to Weldworks as well. Picked up a few cans out there. They have the best breweries in America in Colorado, I fully believe. But other than that, what did you guys end up doing for New Year's?
Well, sat on my couch, played some Madden 15.
Okay, throwing it back.
And forgot it was New Year's Eve for a while. So.
And then at midnight, what did you do? Anything?
I had a Limitless strawberry shortcake beer. Yeah, I decided to have that right around midnight.
Oh, very
and then
nice.
Toasted the wife, gave her a kiss, and we went from there.
You had your midnight kiss, Tanner?
I had my midnight kiss.
Good, I did too. So we're on the same page. Jason, what'd you do?
You know, I didn't do a whole lot. I did watch the ball drop, and as soon as I watched that ball drop, I started thinking about the Ball Brothers.
Yeah, we do actually want to talk about the Ball Brothers here in a little bit. And as you guys know out there, we are based out of Kansas City. So I do want to give you guys a quick story before we jump into some things about NBA talk. And then, of course, playoff talk here in a little bit, a few minutes down the road. But do you guys remember a quarterback that the Chiefs drafted in 1997 named Pat Barnes?
The name sounds familiar.
From the fourth round.
I couldn't pinpoint it, but the name sounds familiar.
Never heard of him.
Well, there was a really funny story. He was actually Tony Gonzalez's quarterback at Cal. So that's a little fun fact about Pat Barnes, the Chiefs' fourth-round pick back then in 97. But whenever he was a rookie, actually, they were on a team flight, and basically they were traveling across, and Pat Barnes had bought a lottery ticket. And he had picked out his own numbers or whatever, and he was super excited about it. You know, he had a bunch of them all laid out, stacked out while he was on the plane, on the flight. And they're flying across town, and it's an 11 or 12-hour flight. And Tony Gonzalez recalls this a little bit, and he goes, I'm sitting right next to Pat Barnes, and we're both in the back and coach. And he's sitting by the window. He's got all the lottery tickets out in front of him because it was so big they were going to make the announcement as we were flying back during the flight. And then he goes, the captain comes on and goes, hey, I know some of you guys are Powerball players. The numbers just came out, and we're going to read them off right now. Well, little did Pat Barnes know, but Greg Minuski, the former Chiefs linebacker, had put a little bug in the flight attendant's ear, apparently, at this point. And so then from there, the guy goes, he starts reading off the numbers. The captain starts to read it off, and he's going one by one. And so after Minuski had gone up and talked to the captain, he looks over at Barnes, and all of a sudden, Barnes starts screaming on top of his lungs. And he goes on a slow crescendo. It's like, I won, I freaking won, I won. He looks over at Gonzalez and he says, get the hell out of the way, I won. He literally pushes him out of the way, pushes Tony Gonzalez out of the way. This was a $250 million jackpot, by the way. And so with that said, this was a big prank set up by the team, obviously. So here's this player, and it's a funny gig. He's obviously, there's pranks you do on rookies and hazing and stuff like that. It was very well known. And so he starts going up and down the aisle, and everybody's tired, and some people are half asleep. This was actually after a game, but he starts going up, and he goes, "I freaking won!" He's holding the ticket like he just won the the golden ticket from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and basically, if the story ends there, that's funny, right? But here's the problem where it didn't end. He goes up to the front of the plane, and this is where Tony Gonzalez did not go with him. But he'd heard that he started yelling at coaches, and he's like, screw football, I'm done, I'm out of here, I hate this stuff, screw you, pointing at coaches. And then at that point, that's where Elvis Gerback and Rich Gannon both jumped on him, tackled him down to the ground, start saying, it's a joke. Well, also, keep in mind, Lamar Hunt was also at the front of that plane. And so Lamar Hunt was the Chiefs owner, rest in peace, Lamar, was at the front of the plane and heard this entire commotion from this third, fourth string practice squad quarterback who they just drafted. And so then, let's just say Gonzalez felt bad, but 2 weeks later, the guy was cut. So he got a little ahead of himself, and that is a very funny and short-lived history of Pat Barnes in Kansas City. And a little bit of, hey, keep yourself in check. Don't get too excited just because you think you won $250 million. Like, you can't just look at me, Jason, and you start going, hey, F you, fuck this podcast. Let's let's jump out of here. So
I feel like I've heard that story before too. I'm sure I have.
It's
It
a
sounds
good one.
very popular, but yeah, it's always a good one to hear.
Well, the good news for him is that if you had a guy by the name of Elvis Gerback as your quarterback on that team, maybe you want to be kicked off that team. Maybe that was helpful for the rest of his life. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's good to see Elvis and Rich teamed up that time and tried to save the young guy, but he cost himself a career really quickly. I think he ended up going to the CFL at one point, but Pat Barnes' career in the NFL was very short after that incident. And he thought he was a baller. Speaking of ballers, we got some guys we want to talk about here for a few minutes. In the NBA, well, one of them's a free agent, but two of them is currently on a team, at least on a roster, that is. But we want to talk a little bit about the Lavar Ball sons. We have Lonzo, Llangalo, and LaMelo. And so you guys, especially you, Jason, JG, I trust your NBA expertise on certain things, and I know you're a big fan of Lonzo, but tell me about these guys, what makes you intrigued, and who's the best one going forward in the NBA as the season's rolling around?
Well, it's very important, first of all, that we talk about the NBA as a team because we haven't done that yet on this show. NBA season is in full swing, very exciting for everybody, and so we thought we'd have a little fun on our first NBA topic and talk about these guys. But the first guy you got to talk about is Lavar Ball, right? So got a lot of haters out there, and I got one of the haters is sitting right next to me. I mean, but not only does he hate Lavar Ball, he hates all three of his sons. He hates the whole family. So tell me a little bit about that, Tanner.
Oh, just the hate on it? I just don't think they haven't lived up to the hype. Obviously, LaMelo just came in. Llangalo got cut by Detroit. That's the summer team. Lonzo somehow is still playing ball. He has a spurts where he's good, and spurts most of the time he's just average. He's average. But I do want to credit Lavar Ball because, man, nobody can build a brand up from scratch with those three guys the way he did when Lonzo came into the league. With all his shoe sores, got a chance to even talk trash on Michael Jordan. Got to go on all these talk shows.
Taylor, the marketing was bigger than the player, I think.
The marketing was way bigger than the player, but credit to Levar though because he made it a bigger deal than anything should have been around the Lonzo era.
Yeah, I mean the thing about him is he made a lot of money. And one of the reasons why he's got so many haters out there is because of his success.
Correct.
He's got three sons, and two of them are already in the NBA. We're not sure about the third one, what's going to end up with his career. But Lavar Ball is very successful. And I think I watched a show on YouTube the other day about his multi-million-dollar mansion that he's living in right now. And as many haters that are out there, you got to give the guy a little bit of credit because, at some point you have to realize the fact that he did something right for his boys, and so that's a good thing for his family. Now he did throw out one thing, and that's the fact that Lavar Ball said that his son Lonzo was going to be better, or already was better than the great Steph Curry. And he took a lot of heat from that. However, these guys are so young. I mean, who's to say that that's not going to happen? I mean, these guys have a ton of potential. The first thing you got to look at is their net worth, right? Yeah. LaMelo is only 19 years old, already got a net worth of $10 million, already got a shoe deal worth $100 million. Lonzo's net worth is already about $6 million, and so Lavar Ball's worth $4 million. So these guys are doing something right. But right now, what we got to do is go through the rankings. So I want to know what you guys think. How would you rank these guys from top to bottom in terms of what you think their careers are going to look like when it's all said and done. So as I see these guys right now, my number 3 guy, and I think we're all going to agree on this, is Llangalo. He's 22 years old, 6'5", 215 pounds. He signed with UCLA a couple years ago, but he never played a single regular season game. And what happened to him was he and 2 other freshmen, when they were on UCLA, got arrested in China for stealing sunglasses at a Louis Vuitton store. And I don't know, like, that seems like, you could probably come up with the $850. Now, Mike and I know there's a reason why I know that price. We know what these things cost. I've got a couple pair. I think, Mike, you have a couple of pairs of Louis Vuitton sunglasses, but
I do.
I certainly would never think about stealing that.
No, it's probably a bad idea. There's probably better ways to go about it. I mean, panhandling even just to, raise your funds, or at least probably be better at stealing.
Right.
Just not buying one.
Right.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
There's that.
So
There's ways to go about it.
He stole sunglasses. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I think it was the president actually had to get him out of that mess.
Yes, they had to get him out of that mess.
But the thing about him going to UCLA is, or him getting kicked off the team, is that when he got suspended, I think his dad pulled him out. Yeah. But the thing about Llangalo is, I really think UCLA would have been good for him. He needed those 4 years to develop his career, and now he's just kind of out there. He's a free agent.
I fully agree with you.
Yeah, he's been on the Pistons for not very long. I mean, I think he was on the preseason roster for the Pistons, then they cut him.
And then he was part of the big cut came play.
But did you guys hear what his dad said about that afterwards? I mean, obviously his dad has a very inflated ego about his own children, which is fine. But his dad did mention after that cut happened, he said they're going to learn the hard way, referring to the Pistons, about releasing their son, or his son, I should say. So you guys take that for what it is, I guess. Yeah, no,
he needs to be in the G League, which was actually canceled last year because of COVID-19. But I think he's got a little bit of opportunity. I think he could potentially be a good NBA player, but he's never going to be a star player, in my opinion. But moving up the list, my number 2 best career from the Ball brothers is going to be Lonzo Ball. Now, Lonzo is 23 years old, 6'6", 190 pounds. Lonzo's a natural point guard, and so he kind of reminds me of Magic Johnson. And, LaMelo is also a natural point guard. However, LaMelo looks to score the ball a little bit more often than Lonzo. So Lonzo is a little bit more of a traditional floor general. And so that's why I kind of compare him to the great Magic Johnson. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and it's hard to say which one of these guys will end up winning more championships, but I do have him at number 2 on this list, just because he doesn't necessarily want to score as much. He just wants to move the ball around and take whatever the defense gives him. And then my number 1 player on this list, I think LaMelo is going to have the best career. He is 19 years old, 6'8", 180 pounds. I just like his offensive creativity, and he is really deadly with his teardrop floaters. Reminds me a little bit of Tony Parker, but obviously a much better passer than Tony Parker. Tony Parker he was a true point guard, but he wasn't as much of a facilitator. And so I think LaMelo is going to be a better passer and definitely a better scorer than Tony Parker. And I think he's going to be a triple-double machine, which is going to put him on the radar for being a superstar in this league, because he's already put up great numbers so far this year. In his very first...
He's looking really well, too.
Yes, he looks great for a 19-year-old. He's already shooting 36% so far from the three-point line, which is only going to get better. And so I like what I've seen out of him so far, but that's my list, guys. LaMelo, then Lonzo, then Jello. What do you guys got?
I think we got a similar list with you, like ranking-wise. That's probably not a question at all. We know LaMelo probably is going to be the best one as of this point, but there are some other questions I like to ask you guys as well around these guys. Now, LaMelo and Llangalo, so after Llangalo's incident, LaMelo and him got to play overseas. I want to say with Lithuania or Greece. Which one?
Yeah, I believe it was Lithuania.
Lithuania.
And then LaMelo ended up in Australia, I
That's
believe.
right. That's right. So these guys got to play with each other for a bit. Now, Llangalo now has a chance to be by himself and kind of grow his own matureness, you could say, or talent as well in the G League. I think that's going to be huge for him. Just kind of touch base on that. After he got cut with Detroit, obviously he's still. If you're playing in the NBA preseason, you're not a bad guy by any means. So you got chance, you got promise. You just got to be there. Now, LaMelo, guys, I want to talk LaMelo real quick. Obviously, he is probably the most talented one, but does he beat Lonzo to the title with Zion Williamson in New Orleans?
I mean, I'm going to give Lonzo the advantage in that respect, and really it's mainly because of his age. He's already been in the league for a while, and he's got Zion on his team. So I mean, if you're just talking about the first person to win a championship, I would have to go with Lonzo. But as far as who's going to win the most, you got to go with the most talented guy.
Now, is LaMelo going to win it with the Hornets? With MJ's team, is he going to be the guy to carry that team to finally a playoff, deep run, and then possibly a title in that making?
Gosh, that's a tough call, just because I don't trust MJ, and this is coming from a MJ GOAT truther here. I don't trust MJ as a general manager or an owner, so I would say no. If I had to bet on it, I would say LaMelo's first championship is not going to be with the Hornets.
That's fair. That's fair at all. Now, something that you guys need to know as well, when I was doing some research around these guys, Lonzo, during their TV series that was going on, Lonzo got asked the question, which Ball brother is the best? Do you guys know what the answer was?
Did Lonzo say himself, or did he say LaMelo?
He said LaMelo. LaMelo's the best brother.
Yeah.
And Llangalo agreed with it. So, obviously, that strikes the case right there, because we all agree, we all see it, and you guys see it as well if you're watching the NBA. You're going to see LaMelo actually develop and continue to develop where he's at. Now, he actually, back in high school, you remember this, Jason? I think you and me got a nice conversation around this. But back in high school, didn't LaMelo score like 90 points or something like that? Cherry picking?
That was, they had one of the most ridiculously good high school teams of all time.
Well, they went undefeated.
Yeah, but he was also, they were so good that all LaMelo had to do was stand at half court, not be, the offsides, and then cherry pick the entire time.
Yeah, the thing that gets me about that high school season is that in the championship game, they torched a team that had 8 Division I recruits. They torched them by like 40 or 50 points.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah, it's insane.
Does that have to do with chemistry within the brothers, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. That had to do with chemistry,
his
but
talent, like Lonzo was already, up and coming. Lonzo's been in the league for 4 years. This was his 4th year now. The guy has somebody else to look up to and had a different talent level to compete against as he was in high school. So yeah, that's totally part of it.
Yeah, I figure especially in basketball, as far as the passing game especially, it helps to have that chemistry kind of deal together to where you trust each other. Because these guys started picking up a basketball at 4 years old, like a legitimate basketball. Because their dad, Levar, was getting them integrated immediately. He knew what he was doing with these kids. He was getting them to become NBA players.
And they're brothers too. How many times did these guys compete on so many different things?
Oh,
me and my brothers
day.
do it all the time.
Every day.
Eric and Connor are probably a little, above me on talent-wise, but damn it, I'm going to compete against
Tanner, if you were a Lavar Ball son, which one would you be?
Which one I'd be?
Yeah.
I'd probably be Llangalo getting ready to go sit on the couch.
Who would be the LaMelo?
Eric would be LaMelo, so Connor will be Lonzo.
Okay, nice. We'll have to make sure that they get reference to that.
Oh, yeah, let's send him a text.
We had Connor on our show, actually, just recently.
Yeah, so Connor was on our last show. But, yeah, He actually would have been a good conversation piece on this one, too, I think.
That would have been good.
Yeah, I think for me, I would be Jello. It's not because of my body type, it's just because it's a great, great nickname. I would just want to be called that. That's a great nickname.
Well, I mean, I like LaMelo's my favorite by far. When I really dug in a little bit with these guys and looked into some things, and as you guys out there know, I'm kind of the NFL guy, not necessarily the NBA guy, but I do like his youth and I like his frame as far as the way he's 6'8" and he's got some room to work with and build up a little bit of his body to where he's going to eventually, and he's 19 years old now, give him 3 years, he's going to be developed much, much more, and I think over time he's going to become a real physical presence. And LeBron James is 6'8" as well, so
The guy's 19.
LeBron James, when he was
So much
19,
upside.
was almost the same frame as what we see right now with LaMelo. If you look at their actual body size, and over time, of course, LeBron did great with his workouts, and now he's got the boulder shoulders going on, and he's a big physical specimen. But I think that it's an interesting comparison between the three, and we obviously thought Lonzo would probably do better so far than what we've seen. I think that can be a true statement. And also, Llangalo, who was undrafted, I think is a guy who was probably a guy that was not necessarily thought of as going to be a superstar, but the name itself actually helped, I think. Just having the
by
ball
far.
and the last name.
The whole part with Lonzo coming in, Lavar Ball got a chance to talk. Yeah, that whole marketing scheme right there just boosted these other brothers into play, and now you can see what they all do. So
Yeah, it's the thing you got to remember with all three of these guys. Really, it's just they're so young, and it's hard to judge a player when they're in their early 20s. But one other thing I will throw out about LaMelo is that when I watch this guy play, when you look into this guy's eyes, I think he's got that killer will. Mm-hmm. What they always complain about with LeBron, he doesn't have the killer will like Kobe or Jordan. When you watch this LaMelo play, I do believe he's got that killer will, and that's why I think he's got a chance to be, dare I say, on the Mount Rushmore or a top 10 player of all time.
well, he's on the right team, I guess. He's on Michael Jordan's team, so hopefully that's helping him out on continuing that killer sighting.
Yeah, and LaVar thinks that if all the Suns were on the same team, that they'd win the NBA title. He's been quoted as saying that, so
They would.
maybe one day it could happen.
I don't know.
It could happen one day.
Leange will be in the G League.
I do think it could happen if you have Jello as the 12th man, like the very
Oh,
last
right.
guy on the bench.
On the bench.
I think it could
Don't
happen.
give Lavar any more market ideas.
Yeah, he's thinking about it right now. All right, you guys. Well, is that enough ball talk for you for a minute? Because we need to switch over to some more football, I think.
I'm good. Let's get back at it.
We have one more month left of NFL football, and so I'm going to embrace this and love this as the NFL fan that I am. And this weekend in particular, we have never had a weekend where we had 3 games on a Saturday, 3 games on a Sunday for the Wildcard playoffs. And so from literally 12:05 p.m. on Saturday down till the last game starts at I think 7:15, which will end at around 10:15. Yep. We got a full 10 to 11 hours worth of football.
Guys,
I
the
can't
playoffs
wait.
are here.
Finally. They're finally here.
What the
but
world?
Then again, this felt like a pretty quick season, but I enjoyed
always
it.
feels that
The Chiefs, as you see if you're watching us here on Twitch, finished off 14-2, as you see down here right below on our table. And that was actually my prediction for the Chiefs this season. So I'm very happy with them, and they probably would have been 15-1, honestly, if the starters had played that last game. But going into the playoffs, you guys, I was kind of curious to think, or see what you guys think anyways, about the things that you're looking forward to this weekend, because we have some really good games. I'm excited about Colts-Bills, excited about Ravens and Titans, and then we have other good games like, I don't know, Washington and Tampa Bay. That could actually be a good game in the end. But do you guys have any surprises? What do you think about this going forward?
What you got, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I would go with my surprise as not being the Bears, because the Bears are who I thought they were after they started 5-1, and I did think they were going to make the playoffs, so they are not my surprise. However, they're probably you guys' surprises because you
They are surprised.
disagreed with me on that. I'm
Happy team.
They got lucky.
I'm going to go with the Rams actually making the playoffs. I did not see that happening without Jared Goff. And we know Kyler Murray got injured in the first quarter of that game, so I don't want to give the Rams too much credit for winning the game. However, the Rams did finish number 1 in defense at the end of the year, only giving up 18.5 points per game. And I look at the matchup coming up, Seattle has a mediocre defense, like we've said over and over again on this show, but it is a tough divisional matchup. Goff is questionable. So my question to you guys would be, is this a trap game? Because I think I might have the Rams winning this game. Seattle's -3.5. What do you think?
I don't necessarily think it's a trap game at all. I think Seattle's will take care of this here, but I can go more detail here a little later around that too.
You want to bet $5 on that?
I ain't betting any money with you. Nothing with you.
So, Jason, you have like an inkling then going on. Do you think that the Rams are going to win for whatever reason? I don't know, but does that have to do with the defense of the Seattle Seahawks, how poor they are, or does it have to do with just a belief in the Rams' offense to get their job done and put up more points? Because I think Wilson is one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the NFL, and I think he prevails in a close game.
It's playoff time.
It's not so much Seattle's defense. It's more about the Rams' defense, and I think they're going to pretty easily be able to stop the run. And I like the defense for the Rams. I like Jalen Ramsey, obviously. I love Aaron Donald. And if they're able to stop the run of Seattle, then I think Russell Wilson might be running for his life. He might have some problems in that game.
Yeah. So is that your surprise pick of the week?
I'm not giving that up yet. That's
not yet. Okay.
I'm just saying that was my surprise.
Rams was surprised to make
that the Rams made the playoffs.
Was you're surprised they made the playoffs, but then you're not surprised that they would beat the Seahawks?
We're not there yet.
Okay, I'm trying to add these things up in my head right now.
We're trying to make a bet, and he wouldn't take the bet.
I ain't taking the bet. So.
Yeah, mine is obviously the Bears. I mean, the Bears are making it in the first place because I gave them plenty of flack going into the season. I thought they were going to be a pretty bad team, and honestly, I think they still kind of are. They went 8-8, and in a normal year, this team does not make the playoffs. Let's be fair. Yeah. At 8-8, you typically don't make the playoffs, and they're facing the Saints here in a wild card round 1 at 12-4. And I think that even though Drew Brees is coming back from his injury still, and I don't know if he's 100% or not yet, I think the Saints defense especially, and we saw that firsthand in Kansas City, that front four is legit. Mm-hmm. And you got the Pro Bowl snub of the century of Trey Hendrickson, who was actually finished third in the league in sacks this year, somehow missed the Pro Bowl. And he absolutely owned Eric Fisher in that Chiefs game at left tackle. And so that's a guy that I think is going to be causing some havoc over there for Chicago, so or at least on Chicago's end of the field, I should say. So,
can I just throw out one thing here, since we're talking about how trashy the Bears are and how pathetic the Washington football team is? What do you guys think about having a play-in game with the two crappiest teams in the playoffs? They have a play-in game in the beginning, because I hear so much about these two terrible teams getting trashed. Well, maybe the two crappy teams should just play each other.
So then, basically, you're saying like the 2014 wild card game between the Royals and the A's.
Yeah,
almost kind of deals with
so
the two wild card teams at the bottom have to fight to
you
get
kind
in.
of want to turn this to like a baseball format.
Yeah, they just need to have like a prove-it game because they're so crappy.
The only problem is with football is they're not going to make a whole extra week for that one game, and they'll never do it that way. So. Let us let teams in. We have 7 teams each conference now, so that way it's equal playing field, I guess. So, cool news. Like we have the 1 seed for Kansas City, so that's really what matters to me right now.
So I think my big surprise is the Cleveland Browns are in. Now, yes, they had to go against the backups of the Steelers, and now they play the Steelers again. But the fact the Browns are in the playoffs, guys, with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. And they've been with no Odell Beckham, right? That's a big name not to have there. Right. I mean, is there any surprise for you guys on this?
I'm not surprised because Odell, as we know, tends to be a cancer in the locker room. And so once you get that cancer out of the locker room, you actually have a chance to make the playoffs. So, the Browns, in my opinion, they're not going to go anywhere. But I'm impressed that they actually made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they ended up at 11-5. And I'm not surprised that they made the playoffs by any means, but the team is not as good as their record shows, and they do have a great running game. They have the best running tandem, actually, in the league with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Those two are amazing.
Yeah, and I think they honestly still stand a chance against this Pittsburgh team, who is still missing a lot of key players on their defense. So,
well, we talk about Jason does about peaking at the right time, and the Steelers did not do that at all. They are on the decline.
They also played the harder schedule at the end.
But then they lost to the Bengals, Tanner, and that's a problem. When you lose to the Bengals with all your starters.
We're going to talk more about each matchup coming up here. But, yeah, it's rough. But that's my surprise.
One thing about the Browns, though, being 11-5 is that their point differential for the season ended up being -11. So think about 11-5, yet they allowed 419 points, but only scored 408. So, yeah, your record's not quite probably as good as what you actually are.
That's
but
what you are, yeah.
Still, it's a good running team. And I do think they have a chance against the Steelers. If things play out the right way, if Mayfield plays okay, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, not turn over the ball.
Now, do you have any disappointments going into this? Because we talked about surprises for a minute, but like who missed the playoffs or who just underachieved throughout the season that you're bothered by?
Yeah, I did talk about the fact that I did say that the Bears were going to be a playoff team, and so I was correct on that. The team I was wrong on was the Las Vegas Raiders, and so that was my biggest disappointment. I thought they would easily be a wild card team, and they ended up only 8-8 after playing very well against the Chiefs in both games and winning one of them. And honestly, I just thought that John Gruden and his $100 billion contract could at least get them to a 10-6 record this year. But I guess, maybe they'll improve next year. I mean, they pretty much have to.
Well, didn't they finish the same record they finished last year?
Yeah, they're sitting over there. The Raiders are sitting at 8-8.
They
So
won
it's
the
typical
Super Bowl.
for them.
They won the Super Bowl early, and then
You want to know the problem? They finished almost second to last in points allowed. So when you do that, you're not going to win very many games. So that makes you not a very good team.
Well, I have to say my disappointment, I thought, was the Miami Dolphins. But it's actually the Arizona Cardinals. How disappointing is that team? You had a chance playing against the backups against the Rams to kick the Bears out, who lost to the Packers, and you couldn't do it. You couldn't finish. Your disappointment lasted for the entire last 5 games of the season, putting it away, and you couldn't do it. That's just disappointment right there.
Yeah, I mean, my thing about the Cardinals, like I said earlier, just that was a fluky game. I mean, there's no way, if Kyler Murray's healthy for that, there's no way they lose that game. I mean, even with that really good Rams defense.
It's still, man, you have a chance. You have 5 games to put it away, and you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it.
I feel you on that because I like the Cardinals. I like the talent on that team. And what's crazy, we were just talking about teams, with the winning record or losing record or 8-8. And the point differential aspect, the Cardinals had 410 points forced and 367 points allowed. So that's a difference. If we do quick math here, that's somewhere around 47, 50. So whatever, somewhere around 50 point differential on the positive side for the Cardinals, which should put them at 10-6, which would put them in the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
And here they are outside looking in when they had a top end wide receiver of DeAndre Hopkins. They had Kyler Murray playing great in the beginning of the year. So I just don't understand where that team went wrong or why they started failing when things really mattered at the end of games.
Yeah, and now they have no more Larry Fitzgerald.
Well, you think he's going to come back one more year?
No, he already announced
He's
retirement.
done?
Yeah, he
Oh,
already
Larry's
announced
done?
retirement. He's done.
I'll believe it when I see it. 'cause
Somebody's going to talk him out
Yeah,
of it.
I'll
He's
believe it
not
when I
that
see it
old.
about Larry
He's
Fitzgerald.
not
It's like
that
Frank
old.
Gore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Frank Gore's wanting to come back
Yeah, he
again,
is.
too.
He's ready to come back again.
Which, actually, he looked pretty good at times. I think he could probably
not,
come back.
right?
But, yeah, that was, I don't know. About disappointment, like I said, I agree with you on that. I don't really have anybody else other than every year the Falcons disappoint me. They're just really good at doing that.
Yeah. But the Dolphins, man. How about, we got to mention
What, but the fact that they missed the playoffs?
They should have been a playoff team.
Yeah,
I-
they were a
I-
good
playoff team.
defense.
I thought I was impressed by Miami. I thought they were going to lose all 4 of their last games. I predicted it on this show, and they didn't do that. But I'm still not shocked that they missed the playoffs. But Miami, they're going to come back strong next year.
That's a playoff team to me. The Dolphins this year were a playoff legitimate wild card team that I thought deserved to have a chance to go fight.
And now Tua's got a full off season to go. The running backs get healthy. The running back? Jeez.
Miles Gaskin.
Yeah, Gaskins. There you
Okay.
go. So he's going to be healthy. They got a chance to build up talent.
I like
for
Tua
sure.
quite a bit. I think he looks pretty legitimate to me.
But yeah, it's just crazy that it came down to that a little bit.
Yeah, do you guys want to jump into the actual games of the week, though, and talk about that for a little bit? Because I know that there's a couple games here that I'm really excited about. A couple more than others, I suppose, because we do have a repeat matchup from last year's playoff game that I'm very excited about that I want to talk about. But first, I'm going to throw it over to Jason if you want to talk about a little bit of the games this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to start off with the game that I am most interested in, and that is that Bills-Colts game. And the Bills are -6.5. And when I break this game down, I'm looking at the defense. The Bills are just number 16 in the NFL, giving up 23.4 points per game. Colts are the 10th best defense. Offensively, the Bills are at number 2. So they're putting up 31.3 points per game. And I just think the Bills are going to have a tough time in this game. The Colts are going to have success with Jonathan Taylor against that mediocre run defense of Buffalo. I do like the Colts defense to not give up too many big plays from Josh Allen, but rather force him to sustain long drives. Now, having said that, I think Josh Allen is playing very well right now, and he's going to do a good job of spreading the ball around. Bottom line for me, if you're the Colts, you got to figure out a way to contain Stephon Diggs, and I'm not confident that they can do that for 4 quarters. And honestly, I just don't trust Phillip Rivers at this stage of his career, even though he only had 12 interceptions this year versus 20 interceptions last year. Rivers is on the decline. Josh Allen is on his way up. It's going to be a close game. Bills are not going to cover that 6.5 point spread. I got Bills 31-28.
31-28. Now, do you guys, on the Bills matchup, do you think Phillip Rivers has a chance to actually take this Colts team competitively on the offensive side? Can Phillip Rivers manage this offense in the playoffs?
I mean, I think they're good enough. I mean, they ended up with a number 9 offense in the NFL, so they're putting up enough points this year. And honestly, this is one of those games where anything can happen. Like I said, the only reason I didn't pick the upset here was just because I think there might be that one big Stephon Diggs play, and Josh Allen to me he's just a better quarterback at this stage in his career than Rivers.
Now, the Bills do have the history of laying down in the playoffs, like we saw last year, essentially.
Right, but you're almost looking like before Josh Allen, and here we are with Josh.
Josh Allen.
The Chiefs were well known for laying down the playoffs with Alex Smith. We got Patrick Mahomes, and those things changed.
Yeah, so
Josh Allen is
Josh
the
Allen's
new
last year game
thing.
was just a fluke then.
Yes.
Playoff game.
Yes,
This
Josh
is back
Allen
into
is
the
is a brand new man right now, and he showed promise last year, but this year he proved himself.
Okay.
I think the Bills are on track right now. They should win that game.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would say about this game is like Phillip Rivers at this stage in his career, he kind of reminds me of Brett Favre at the end, where he's just trying to, prove himself and trying to make something happen. And I just feel like Rivers is more likely to make a mistake in this game than Josh Allen.
Yeah. And I got to agree with you, Jason, on that score prediction there. I would take the Bills for sure in that close of a game. Mike?
Yep. So my game of the week that I'm looking the most forward to is a repeat, as I said a minute ago, of the Titans-Ravens. Once again, battling it out. This is going to be such a fun game because these guys always play hard, always play close. And the way that Derrick Henry's running right now is absolutely amazing. He ended up finishing with over 2,000 yards rushing on the year, which is actually puts him in a class of only 8 guys all time who've ever done that. And he was only about 80 yards away from breaking Eric Dickerson's all-time rushing record for a single season.
Crazy.
And so, yeah, he finished off actually this year, Tanner. 1 year alone, Derrick Henry had 3 different 200-plus yard games rushing. 3 in one season. That's absolutely phenomenal. If anyone ever breaks the record in one game for rushing yards, which is 296, it will be Derrick Henry.
It has to be.
He was 46 yards away from breaking it in Week 17. That's how close he got. But yeah, he actually finished off here the final 7 games of the season with 1,081 yards total rushing within 7 games. So equate that over a full season, then yeah, he destroys that record of rushing. He's on a roll right now. The guy is just a freaking monster. He had a lot of touches though, 378 touches total on the ground this year. But let's keep in mind, they're playing a team on the other end with the Baltimore Ravens, who are also phenomenal in the rushing game. And one thing about the Ravens that I've kind of noticed here recently is that in the last 5 weeks, they've actually averaged 37.2 points per game on offense. So that offense is rolling right now. And it seems like the J.K. Dobbins has come along. Do you guys know J.K. Dobbins, the rookie running back from Ohio State, actually finished this year with 6 yards per carry? 6.
No, actually, I didn't.
His yards per carry was 6. He had over 800 yards rushing on 100 and some carries.
He really stepped it up then.
And he was absolutely a gamer. So he, you guys know the record. Jamal Charles and Jim Brown share that at like 6.3. And so he was very close to actually coming to breaking that record in a single season, even as a rookie. And also, not only that, but the Ravens have rushed for 200 or more yards in 4 of the last 5 games. And so they're also peaking at the right time, just like Derrick Henry is. So you got to battle the 2 best rushing offenses in the NFL coming at each other right now. Here's the difference in the game and where things will change. The Tennessee Titans actually ended up with a 28th ranked defense in the NFL this year. And that is a problem. Not only that, but entering week 17, they had 14 total sacks on the year. 14 total sacks from your defense on the year. I think the NFL record low all time is still set by the Chiefs at like 6. And so that tells you, how close they were to being that bad at rushing the passer. And meanwhile, the Ravens on defense were number 2 in points per game on defense. So I think the Ravens have a big edge here, but I have a fun fact for you guys first. You guys won't believe this. Ryan Tannehill was better than even last year when he went 7-3 as a starter. This year finished off 11-5. Do you guys realize Ryan Tannehill had a total of 40 touchdowns this year?
Do you know who he threw to?
Right, your guy A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown. Beast.
Right. But Ryan Tannehill himself had 40 touchdowns.
He played more games.
How does a quarterback...
And he's just dominant. It's just a new scene. You go from the Dolphins to you get injured, and you take over off a bad Mariota quarterback, and then you just continue to progress like you would have.
Like, where's the room for the touchdowns when you already have a 2,000-yard rusher with Derrick Henry? How the hell do you, as a quarterback, put up 40 touchdowns on your own?
I want to know what their time of possession is, because I guarantee
it's got to be absolutely probably tops in the league.
Yeah.
They actually have a very efficient offense. They're actually top 5 in red zone efficiency, top 5 in first downs converted, top 5 in converting third downs. This is a very efficient offense. The problem is on that team right now, their defense has no pressure whatsoever on the opposing quarterbacks. Meanwhile, the Ravens' defense is on the top end elite of the league right now. So
and
that is going to be the problem.
Time of possession could be the key of that. Why the defense isn't producing that pressure? Because they're not getting the reps. Like we dealt with that a few years ago.
Yeah, and so with all that said, the Titans are 3-point underdogs at home, by the way, against this Ravens team, a team that they've actually beaten frequently here in recent times, going back to last year especially. And so that's just a tough call in this game. Because I like both teams. I like what they represent as far as the way they play football. And I'm a big fan of Derrick Henry. But
I was just thinking that.
This is a tough game. I want to lean towards the Ravens in this game in particular. But I really, really like Ryan Tannehill, and I think he's a better passer by far than Lamar Jackson. But with that said, I'm going to make this a coin flip game for myself. Now we're going to go heads is going to be the Titans, tails is going to be the Ravens, and let's see what we end up with here.
Tails. Make it tails.
Well, we got heads. I guess we're expecting the Titans to prevail again. We might see them in the AFC Championship game here in Kansas City.
Now, you should have gone with your first instinct there, Mike, because this is actually my easy money bet of the week. Baltimore's -3.5. This is a revenge game for last year's playoff game and the Week 11 game of this year. And overall, you got to go to your first point, which is that Baltimore is just playing better. They are peaking at the right time. They have improved so much compared to earlier in the season. And I've got 34-21 Ravens easily covering the spread.
Wow, Ravens, huh?
Going heavy.
So yes, the Titans do lose their lead blocker in Earl Thomas, so he won't be there this year. Yes, you guys remember what I'm talking about? No, you don't remember because you were probably something else.
I don't know. What do you referencing?
Last year, Ravens Titans in the playoff game. Derrick Henry turned Earl Thomas all the way around stiff arm.
Right.
And it looked like Earl Thomas was blocking for him up the field.
I remember that now.
Yeah, you remember that now?
The best stiff arm in the game of Derrick Henry.
By far.
Or he just completely turned him around and he's like holding him up like a shield.
And Earl Thomas is looking over his shoulder the wrong way, acting like he's blocking for him. So yes, the
good reference.
blocker is gone for Derrick Henry, but that's all right because he doesn't need him. He doesn't need him. Why? Because Tannehill, AJ Brown connection will prevail over that Ravens defense, and Derrick Henry will go for 98 yards this week.
That's it? 98?
Okay, what was your final score? You don't have
You're
one?
not going to like it.
Okay.
I have one, actually. I did my coin flip. I'm going Titans, since that was my coin flip landed on, I guess. Titans to win 27-26, a 1-point game.
27-26.
So that means take the Ravens on the
So
spread.
he's you're not a big believer.
Oh,
if
man,
you only
you guys
get a
are not gonna
1-point
like my
win.
Justin
Score
Tucker is going to have 3 field goals.
My score prediction for this one is you're not going to like it, but it's going to be 38-14.
Well,
In
38 to
favor
14.
of Tennessee.
Titans.
Okay, so I had 34-21 Baltimore. Now keep in mind that Tanner's kind of a homer. I think he has a little thing going on for AJ Brown. I don't know what that is, but he might be kind of biased here. So
Look, the Ravens, yes, they started hot at the right time. They came on fire when they needed to, but so did the Titans. The Titans lost to what, the Packers in a snowy Lambeau the last 4 games. Who cares? Right? So yeah, I'm going Titans in this one.
All right, Tanner, what was your game of the week that you want to discuss? Because I know we talked earlier, and you want to talk about something in particular.
Yeah, it was actually Jason's surprise, which is the Rams-Seahawks matchup. I don't know if you guys think about this, but these guys already met up twice this year because they're in the division, and they split, right? Now, who's coming on fire at the right time, but who's also dealing with injuries at the wrong time? Well, that's the Rams, guys. The Rams are dealing with the wrong injuries at the wrong time.
Tanner, Jason thinks that a team that lost to the Jets is going to beat the Seahawks.
Dude, you have no idea what I got coming up here. So, just real quick on the injury report as of 2 p.m. today. I guess as of January 5th, so yesterday. Jared Goff is technically out, but Sean McVay has not ruled him out in any press conference. He says he doesn't know if he's going to start. There's more rehab to it on an article I was reading on ESPN. But they have a chance. The Rams have a chance to get Brockers back on defense and Andrew Whitworth back this week. So that's going to be 2 huge pieces coming up, and they got that win against the Cardinals with their back quarterback. So you got to think about that. Now, the Seahawks aren't really looking at anybody major. Greg Olson's still out, and it wasn't really much of a factor. But you got Jamal Adams that has a questionable injury right now, and then you also have Chris Carson's, which, again, they have Carlos Hyde and some other guys. So I'm not too concerned on that part. Now, to think about this here, Seahawks are favored by 3.5 today on the spread, which I didn't think about it. I thought it was going to be a lot closer. So that's kind of nice. And the matchup predictor on ESPN has Seattle win 59.1% on that. So that's going to be kind of interesting as well.
51.9%.
59.
Oh, 59. Okay.
So let's talk real quick. The last 5 games for each team. We got to look at these matchups to see how the streaks are coming. The Seahawks beat the 49ers, the Rams, which was handedly the Rams, 20-9. They beat the Alex Smith-less Washington football team. They beat the Jets 40-3. Remember that score, Jets 40-3. And then they lost to the Giants for whatever reason, 17-12. Whatever reason, that's fine. Probably coming off a bad game, ain't worried about it. The Rams last 5, they had Arizona to finish out the season. They won with their backup. They lost to the Seahawks. They lost to the Jets. Just dramatic pause here. They beat New England 24-3, and they beat Arizona as well. Guys, we're talking about a playoff team without possibly the starting quarterback that lost to the Jets winning a playoff game. Anything about that part?
Jason, that's all you on that one.
So what's your final score?
I'm not done yet, though. I'm not done. I'm just saying, asking about the Jets game. Like, does the Jets game matter to you guys? That one team crushed the Jets and the other team lost.
The Jets are not a factor, right? Because they're the worst team in the NFL. So you could be the best team in the league, like the Chiefs, but yet, and we all know that the Chiefs torched the Jets, but you're not necessarily going to play your best game when you're facing the New York Jets. So I don't take that with a grain of salt.
So the Jets aren't a factor then. All right, so let's look at their matchups, the past matchups here, right? We got the Rams Seahawks in the first game. Rams won 23-16. Russell Wilson had 2 interceptions that game. Jared Goff had no touchdowns, but over 300 yards. The rushing game wasn't a big matter. And then let's see here. What was the total yardage? So total yards, Seattle was under 333 to 389. The Rams won that one. Seattle had 3 turnovers that game to Rams 1. So that was kind of a big deal there. And the Rams led in time of possession at 33 minutes. So, and I like to look at this. Let's see how it leads up to this game. So the Rams leading up to the first Seahawks match, they had the Bills, the Giants, Washington, 49ers, Bears, and Dolphins. They lost to the Bills, they lost to the 49ers, they lost to the Dolphins. Right? And then the Seahawks had the Dolphins, Vikings, Cardinals, 49ers, Bills, and then the Rams. They lost to the Cardinals, they lost to the Bills.
So they did not lose to the 49ers, though.
They did not lose to the 49ers. So, and they only lost 2 games versus the 3 games that the Rams lost. Okay? Now that's the start. That's how the Rams won. They somehow prevailed. It's fine. Second matchup, 20-9. 20-9, guys. Seattle won. Jared Goff had 1 interception. Russell Wilson had 1 TD. Running game was pretty average at 69 yards. Nice. Cooper Kupp was in the game for the Rams. He had 66 yards. Metcalf at 59. Time of possession once again comes into play here, but apparently it wasn't much of a factor as the Rams had another 32-50 on there, but it did not matter as the turnovers were lost on that one. Now, how did this come up? The Rams came into the Seahawks game with only 2 losses to the 49ers and Jets. The Seahawks had losses to the Giants. Seahawks are catching fire at the right time, guys. The Seahawks are ending the season strong. They're figuring out their defense. Jamal Adams or no Jamal Adams, he's not much of a factor, really. The offense is getting... Russell Wilson's actually playing hella well right now. He's running. He's being smart. He's not turning the ball over. The Rams are without key players, possibly without Jared Goff. You're going to go into the season with a backup, and let's hope he can do what he did against the Cardinals. Sean McVay is a very smart coach, very respected. But the Seahawks prevail because it's playoff time, it's Russell Wilson ball, and they're caught fire at the right time.
You know why they prevail, really, though? It's a quarterback-driven league. And Russell Wilson is, to me, a top 4 quarterback in the entire league. He's consistent, and he knows how to win games. So I believe in him over anything the Rams have to offer.
By far. I believe Russell Wilson wins this game, guys, and I believe it is handily strong. It's going to be 28-7.
One more rebuttal, Jason, or are you good with this?
28-7,
28-7.
Easily covering the spread.
Wow.
Ooh, well, I've got a little disclaimer on this game. And so you guys all know by now how I feel about Jared Goff. And I feel at this point in the season, they're actually a better team if he does not play, especially if he's not healthy right now. He had surgery on his hand with that bruised thumb. And so I think they're better off without him right now. This game's all going to be about Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Seattle, they're not going to be able to run the ball effectively. And, if I take them for their careers, I will take DK Metcalf going forward over Jalen Ramsey. But in this one game, I'm going to go with Jalen Ramsey. I think the Rams are going to get the job done in the upset 21-17.
Put it on the board. Yes. Mark it down,
I want to mark real quick that the Rams points against 18.5 finished 32nd.
Yeah.
32nd.
Yeah.
Versus 18th.
Ultimate trap game, especially if Goff does not play. This is the ultimate trap game.
Well, Tanner, we're going to do some quick rundown once again of the rest of the games for this weekend, but did you have the actual official scores for us between the full Buffoon clan?
You guys want to talk pick'ems?
Pick'ems this season?
The pick'ems result?
Yeah, we need to know the full results.
Oh, buddy. All right, guys. So pick'ems results, I got it all figured out. Let's have an award ceremony going on, right, don't we? So we're going to start with third place of the squad here. It's JG. He finishes at 146. And yes, I got that picture off of Twitter. So that is a...
Oh, very nice.
That's not
very
too bad
nice.
at all. Not too bad at all. Second place, guys, is myself. I finished second at 149. This is me in my wedding photo. Pretty damn handsome, I must say. All right, and... Well, can we just skip the first?
Oh, you cheated. Can we just do a recount or something like that?
There we go.
Oh, I need a recount from week 2.
No, we
Tanner,
got to do a...
What, you took away my votes?
No, you still...
I want to do I want a forensic audit of his computer.
He definitely took votes from me back in week 2.
Hey, actually, you know what? It's all in this notebook, buddy. Have fun. All right, guys, and in first place here, and if you guys view on YouTube here, you can see our slides we have here. We have Mike with 156. This guy actually only missed
man.
3 picks this last week, and it killed
Only 3
Jason
picks is
and
what I missed? That's it?
Yeah.
I nailed all the rest
On
of
the
them.
week 17 game.
Nailed all the week 17s almost. That's pretty
you
impressive,
pretty much
I guess.
nailed it. So, yes, there's Mike, and this is also...
If you smell, I'm the people's champion.
he is a
At this point.
champion.
Now, how are you going to celebrate this, Mike? That's a big celebration. That should be
Celebration.
coming
It's going to
up.
call for. Well, now I'm drinking a little bit of bullet bourbon. Now that we're talking for a while, I got tired of you guys rambling about balls and stuff. So it's good to know we have the official end of season list. I was just curious about that because we needed to know to get it all calculated at the end of the year. Because at one point Tanner called me out about being behind because he'd skipped over a couple of my votes. I was like, you know what, you bastard,
If you
I'm
would
coming
pick
back for
if
this.
you would pick, correctly, you would be fine.
Well, the whole rest of the season I did pretty dang good, I would say. So
Yep.
I wonder how I compare to the ESPN experts out there of the society.
I'm not
Not that
looking
I'm
that up.
concerned about what their thoughts are because I feel like the buffoons are just as smart as the ESPN experts out there. So let's keep that in mind. I think we're pretty good at what we do as well. So
Well, you are the champion, Mike,
the
so
people's champion now.
they should believe you on our last 3 pick'ems that we have for this show. We've got 3 more games.
the only one I wouldn't believe myself on yet is the Titans game because I don't know, and I love this game, but I don't know who's going to win,
And
honestly.
just so the podcasters out there that aren't seeing the video, the picture is Mike next to a waxed, the wax form of the Rock, and they're both doing the eyebrow.
Right.
So just so everybody knows, that's why you're seeing the People's Champion.
Exactly, precisely. I'll be back again next year for NFL pick'ems, and I will destroy that shit once again.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
What do we do pick'ems on going forward with sports in the future?
We'll see what comes up. Maybe we'll do
Here and
a
there,
week
dude.
or something like that. Yeah.
Do a weekend rundown of NBA or something like that every once in a while.
Some fun. But
There's some other kind of
Super Bowl pick'ems.
we
Well,
have NFL
that's
playoffs for a while.
a month from now.
We can look at the NBA, see what's coming up. So.
All right, guys, we have another few games to talk about still because we hit on the Rams Seahawks for a long time there. I gave you guys a rundown on the Ravens Titans, and we talked a little bit of Colts and Bills. So, did we give our full picks on Colts and Bills? All of us? We all Bills here?
I don't think I actually picked there. Guys, I am going to go Bills, but I am going to go similar to Jason's score, except for I think it'll be more like 45-41.
Wow, really high scoring.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it'll be a high-scoring game.
So we all picked the Bills. That means you can take it to the bank.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I got Bills winning this game, 31, Colts 20. So 11-point game for me on that one. And then Rams Seahawks, I got Seahawks winning on that one.
Yep.
Seahawks to win 34 to also 17 on that one. So a big 14-point game for them on that one. And then I already told you guys 27-26 Titans over Ravens. We've got 3 more to talk about that we have not mentioned yet. Buccaneers and Washington. So we have these are an interesting matchup because the Reds. Whoa, don't go there, Mike.
Let's calm down.
We got to be politically
Let's calm
correct.
down.
We can't say those words.
You're good. You didn't finish the word.
I know.
You didn't finish the word.
I got real worried there.
All right.
We're about to be audited.
The SEC is not going to call us.
Okay. Well, the FCC can't let me be, so let me be me, so let me see. Try to shut me down at MTV. So,
Feels
all
so
right.
empty.
That's all right, Eminem. So let's go. For me, this is going to be an easy Buccaneers win, but Washington actually has a good defense, like a legitimately good defense. So I think it could be close, but I like the Bucs on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough game to bet on because the Bucks are -8, and I feel like that's about where this game should be. I like the front 4 of Washington to keep that game semi-close, but Tom Brady is playing at a high level right now. I'm going to say 24-17 So the Bucks are not quite going to cover that spread, but I'll go with the Bucks.
All right, guys. Alex Smith is 4-1. Forget the Washington record, guys. It doesn't matter. That's the record to focus on. 4-1. All right, and that defensive line that they got on the football team, that's exciting.
I like how you say the football team, Tanner. That feels
I almost
sexy
caught
over there.
myself, man.
The football team, baby.
WFT.
That is the thing.
But Tom Brady is in the playoffs, and we know how Tom Brady is in the playoffs. It's really hard to pick against him.
Playing for blood.
He is playing for blood, and he has Gronk. He has Antonio Brown, who actually had a really great game last week. Mike Evans is out, I believe, with the leg injury.
They don't need him.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but
They can live without him, honestly.
there's not enough targets to go around anyways, with Scotty Miller coming to play. So I am going Washington, everybody. Alex Smith is going to be 5-1 by the time the weekend's done with.
Well, all right, Tanner. As you wish.
Oof.
As you wish.
That's brutal.
That's right.
That's brutal. A 6-10 team against Tom Brady, TB12.
Well,
4-1. That's all I care about.
All right, Tanner, you ready for your prediction on Bears Saints?
Bears Saints. That is going to be the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going Saints for myself.
Yeah, we're all going Saints, but the only question is, you think they're going to cover that 10 points? I think they are going to cover. The Saints can easily stop David Montgomery, which will force Trubisky to be a playmaker, which we all know he is not, at least at this point in his career, nor will he ever be. I'm going 35-17 Saints, easily covering the 10 points.
Hey, but if they put in Nick Foles, guys, it could be a whole different ballgame.
Oh, my God.
Playoff Nick Foles might be coming in. Watch out.
Is that kind of like playoff Rondo? Don't compare him to Rajon Rondo, please.
Hey, look at him with the Eagles. I don't know. I'm just saying.
All right, one more prediction for the playoffs.
They each have one ring. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, Foles got the ring, so good for him.
Well, Rondo has 2 now.
That's a
so.
thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Rondo's got 2.
So we have Browns and Steelers. After they just played Week 17, and obviously it was against the Steelers' backups. But this is going to be interesting because I think the Steelers are on the decline. We've seen them slowly have a demise here at the end of the season. After they started off 11-0, that was the biggest 11-0 fraud I've ever seen in my life. The Browns will win this game if they can get Baker Mayfield to show up and not turn the ball over. Because with that running game with Nick Chubb, who I absolutely love Nick Chubb is actually a top 3 favorite running back in the league. My top 3 favorites are Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, then Nick Chubb is my third. So I admire Nick Chubb, and I also really love the way Kareem Hunt plays as well. So we all know that firsthand in KC. But I think the Steelers should have a better team. But if you guys won't believe this, I'm going to go with the Browns to win over the Steelers here on Wildcard Weekend.
Okay, well, to your point, Baker Mayfield will not show up, and he will turn the ball over. I think he's going to see a lot of pressure in this game. I like that Steelers run defense. I've got 28-17 Steelers to cover the minus 6 points.
Mike, you said earlier when I was talking about Seattle, the reason Seattle's going to win is why? What kind of league is it?
I told you it's a quarterback-driven league.
It's quarterback-driven league, everybody. Ben Roethlisberger is back after being freshly benched on the Week 17. They are not going to lose to the Browns with Ben Roethlisberger in there. Ben Roethlisberger is the difference maker in this ball game, just so everybody knows. Baker Mayfield could play his best game, I guess, but if they don't have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt running for 80 yards each, it's not going to happen. Steelers win, and I think it's pretty convincing win. I'd say 31-10.
Now, Tanner, just to be clear, I know how much you really love Big Ben. So is this your biased opinion, or is this your legitimate opinion?
No, this is legitimate opinion.
Legit. Okay,
Yes.
all right. I just want to get that out of the way.
I do like Big Ben, but the difference that he has had with the Steelers team being out all last year, and then you see him come in this year, you can't deny it.
Tanner, do you remember a month ago you thought Roethlisberger was the MVP of the league?
Yeah, they were also 11-0. So
Well, did we also tell you that was nonsense and the real MVP was going to be either Rodgers or Mahomes?
As long as they were winning, you have to throw them in the conversation. Plain and simple.
So, Mike, would you consider this a trap game for the Steelers? Do you think they're just going to have a letdown?
It could be a trap game. And the reason why I would agree with that statement was that early on in the season when they played in Pittsburgh, actually, I think it was, the Steelers destroyed the Browns. It was like a 31-7 game. Yep. Maybe 38-7 even.
Yeah.
So it was an early on game, and they just killed them. And this is the Browns' honest revenge game because the one from Week 17
doesn't count.
Is against a bunch of backups, and it just going.
Yeah, they almost lost to a bunch of backups.
Okay, but if they get that run game going, which is what's going to matter,
that's
then
all that matters for the Browns.
You could get it rolling that way, but it could be a trap game.
Yeah, well, it could be a wild game, too. I mean, I feel like when I saw the list, I thought this could be the most boring game out of all of them. But, no, you're exactly right. It could be a trap.
It comes down to Mayfield. If he has one or more turnovers, the Browns lose. If he does not turn the ball over, the Browns win. To me, that's all it comes down to at the end of the game for the Browns. But I'm actually going to be rooting for the Browns in this game. And I would love to see the Chiefs play the Browns going into the AFC divisional game. That's my favorite.
The goddamn Steelers are going to win this game. It's not even a trap game.
All right, Tanner, if you say so. We'll see how things play out on Sunday night with that game. All right, so did you guys have another NBA topic we want to talk about, or should we talk about some buffoonery stuff?
Is that all the matchups?
Did we do?
That's
we
it.
did 6, Tanner.
Man.
6 games this weekend. There'll be 6 more next weekend. Don't worry. Stay thirsty.
I'm ready for the buffoonery topic.
Do we have what is your buffoonery topic of the day, Jason? Do you have one for us?
I can throw one out there if you want to. I could do the Mount Rushmore of fast food restaurants. Do you guys want to go there, or is it?
Well, I
is it
can't.
too
I'm not
late for
gonna.
that?
I'm not gonna give you 4 fast food restaurants, but I'll give you like 2 or 3 that I enjoy. But
Fast
I
food,
thought
though?
we've done fast
Wait,
food before.
we didn't
haven't
even
we?
do our YouTube.
No,
last
we've
week.
never
Remember
done that.
Oh yeah, we were gonna
Never-
talk about YouTubers.
Remember the YouTube
Remember
channels and
YouTubers?
stuff?
Oh, sure.
Do you even have that?
Sure. Yeah.
You got a
whatever
couple of
want.
YouTubers, maybe not a Mount Rushmore, but
But like your top 3 or maybe some highlight channels.
give a
Well-
shout out, Tanner. Give a shout out to a YouTuber.
Mine? So
Yeah.
my favorite one is Neebs Gaming. So they are a gaming channel, and they actually produce more than just gaming film. They produce it into a story form. So it's like you're watching a movie of them playing GTA or Raft or Ark or stuff like that. It's really entertaining, and it's not just watching a guy play games. It's 5 people interacting into a story fashion, and it's fabulous.
Interesting. Have you ever showed me Neebs Gaming?
I think I've showed you a couple.
Maybe at some point we probably did that.
But yeah,
I got a couple that I watch almost daily. One of my favorites is Max Tuning. I think he's got a great mixture of awesome personality. He's also a fitness YouTuber, so he's involved in weightlifting and cardio. Actually, not so much cardio, I should say. He likes Chipotle a lot, and he has a big fluffy golden doodle, which is really cute. And
Dude.
he's probably the best editor of any YouTuber
Yeah,
I've ever
fire.
seen.
So sick.
His edits are phenomenal,
Transitions are the
and
best.
he does these on his own. He does almost all of his own work, and so Max Tuning is like by far one of my favorite dudes. I've been watching for like 7 years. I've seen him go from it's an inside joke here, but I've seen him go from benching 225 to now benching 225. So it's a big leap over the course of years where he's had a big number, and an improvement. But if you guys picked up on that, he's literally stayed the same weight for the whole time he's been weightlifting. But he can deadlift like 630 pounds.
It's ridiculous.
Like his deadlifts are just amazing. But he's one of my favorites. And then I have another one that I've just Matt Cross. He's his name. He's a great one as well. So I got to throw him out there, Mr. 33 Secrets himself.
Well, you said the other guy really likes Chipotle, so
Oh, yeah.
would you put Chipotle on your Mount Rushmore of fast food?
Absolutely.
No,
If you consider that
Not a
fast food,
chance.
is that fast food to you, Jason?
chance.
Yeah, absolutely. it's
Okay, then
fast
yeah.
food.
If it's fast food, because normally you gotta wait in a
Chipotle
line.
does not work.
So that's
All
not
right.
very fast. But no, Chipotle is in my top 4 by far.
All right, we'll talk about that later, but I'll give you a couple of YouTube channels. I also have to go with Matt Cross, otherwise known as M from the 33 Secrets. I would put him as my number 1 on the Mount Rushmore of YouTubers. And number 2, I'd have to go with a guy by the name of Graham Stephan. He is really smart when it comes to investments and what to do with your money. So he's really good with the economy. And so Graham Stephan is a guy to look at.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right. So, did you guys have an NBA topic again, or are we going to say peace to all of our followers
I
out
don't really
there?
have any much for NBA right now.
Here's the thing about the NBA. It's way too early.
Right.
I gave you guys the lowdown a couple of weeks ago when I did my preseason rankings, and really nothing's changed. It's still the Lakers right now.
But how cool is it to see Steph Curry finally come back and produce 96 points in 2 games?
Oh, I mean, Steph Curry
He went ridiculous.
if he stays healthy, he could quite possibly go on an MVP run.
Oh,
That would not surprise me at all.
I just wish his team would get it together, but it's all right.
Yeah.
When you don't have Klay Thompson, it's very difficult to get your team together.
Yeah, because he's pretty solid for them. So.
But we will be talking lots of NBA, lots of baseball
Yes.
going forward within our podcast here. Because once football season is over, as you all know, since we're based out of Kansas City, the Royals will be a topic that we speak on here probably once a week, just for a little bit at least, because we do want to hit on Royals. And we're very excited to see the progression of some of the young guys we have on this team and from spring training on. So that'll be something we talk about for a bit,
Yes.
as well as I'd like to hit on some hockey going forward. And so that would be a good topic that I would enjoy personally. But we will always be buffoons, first and foremost, but sports lovers as well. So you guys have any other final thoughts to finish up our show tonight?
Just hurry up and give me your top 2 fast foods.
Top 2 fast foods.
Top 2.
Number 1, Taco Bell. Number 2, because, well, In-N-Out Burger's amazing. But I can't say that because I don't have one near me. But I guess I could say that.
You could say
So, okay, In-N-Out Burger.
because it's true.
In-N-Out Burger. That's my number 2. But Taco Bell is my go-to.
All right, so I've got In-N-Out Burger, number 1. And then my number 2, I guess at this point, would be Culver's. What you got, Tanner?
God, you guys are going to hate me on this one. Number 2 would be Taco John's,
Ooh.
which is
My
fabulous.
brother's going to love you.
Dude, I
That's
love
his favorite
Taco
of all
John's.
time.
Anyways, I don't go there very often, and there's a reason for it. So let's just say it's definitely in the 20s. And then I'd have to go Culver's, I guess. Culver's you can't go wrong with that. No matter what you get there, fish, chicken, burgers, it don't matter.
It's all good up in the hood, right, Tanner?
I'm telling you, it is.
That's what they say.
It's all good.
All right, so Jason doesn't steal my line like he normally does. I'm going to go ahead and go first. You guys can finish me off after this. No homo. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know. Thank you all for listening. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all the other good things at Sports Buffoons. And I will see you all on the next one.
All right, guys, don't eat too much fast food out there. This is the one and only JG. I am out.
See you guys.